Welcome to the Alaska Weather Show. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Saturday, December 18th, 2021. And as always, if you'd like additional weather information, you can go to weather.gov/Alaska. Plenty things to check out there, but we're going to get right into the headlines. Got a fair amount to talk about this evening. We continue to see a progressive weather pattern that will continue through the end of December into the beginning of the new year. We're going to be watching some bearing systems that'll bring some increasingly milder air to the state, especially the west, southwest sides, including the Alaska Peninsula and the Aleutians. We have a weekend storm that's arriving now along the west coast. It'll be impacting, say, St. Lawrence Island, the Nome area, down towards Scammon Bay as we head through this evening. And then overnight, with that moisture spreading inland up through the Yukon Valley, through the central interior. Some of the snowfall in the central interior could be on the heavy side. That would include a number of the highways as you get north there, traveling up through the Alaska Range around Fairbanks and northward up to the Brooks Range. It looks like we could see warmest temperatures between now and the new year at times. We're going to have a few different surges of milder air over the southwest portion of the state, the Alaska Peninsula, and then again extending out there through the Aleutians. Well, earlier this afternoon around 2 o'clock, that's the way things looked in Nome. And there will be snow moving into that region here overnight that'll mix with and change to some freezing rain and rain. So there could be a little bit of icing as well, where a winter storm warning is in effect. Nenana, as well as Tanana and Fairbanks are under winter storm watch, and some heavier snow, 6 to 9 inches of snow could fall. Some of the higher elevations could pick upwards to a foot of snow, and that would come mainly later Sunday in through Monday morning. And there also could even be a little freezing drizzle mix in at times, especially as the milder air works its way further inland, though it is not going to get that warm in Fairbanks versus, say, areas like Nome or especially portions of the southwest. We have widespread winter storm warnings in effect now all the way from St. Lawrence Island and along the west side of the Seward Peninsula, including Nome, and then extending eastward inland, Kotzebue on over toward Galena, Ambler, Bettles, Tanana into Fairbanks, and along the south slopes of the Brooks Range. We have winter weather advisories to the south of this area that include McGrath on over toward Hooper, Scammon Bay, where again the precipitation is going to be more mixed there, not quite as heavy, not as much snow. And then further north, breezier conditions, very little bit of light snow, more of just blowing snow up there, Point Hope to Wainwright and Utqiagvik. Also, could see some light accumulations of snow and some blowing snow there along at least the eastern portion of the Brooks Range and North Slope. So looking at precipitation amounts, on Sunday, just to highlight where the heaviest precipitation is expected to fall there, portions of the Seward Peninsula, lower Yukon Valley, especially around Kotzebue, extending toward the east just west of Bettles, north of McGrath, spreading into the Fairbanks area as the day goes on. And then as we look to Monday on the right, the main focus of precipitation will be along and west and north of the Alaska Range. So again, the interior highways, especially as you get up along the Alaska Highway, north of Cantwell, going on up toward Fairbanks and Nenana, on up toward just east of Bettles there, as well as down toward Tok. That's where we expect to see accumulating snows, making for certain more hazardous travel conditions, especially as we go through Sunday afternoon and into Sunday night and during the day on Monday. But in the meantime, we continue to see clear skies, at least mostly clear to partly cloudy skies in the Panhandle, because high pressure will continue to build over the southern Yukon there in northwest Canada, and it's creating a drier, colder northeasterly flow of air, an offshore flow there through the Panhandle. But to the west, see the brighter cloud tops of the frontal system now approaching the southwest coast, Dillingham, Bethel, on up toward St. Lawrence Island. And that is that surge of milder air and deeper moisture that's going to produce some of the heavier precipitation, initially in the form of snow, though, that could mix with and even change over to some freezing rain or rain along the southwest coast. So here's the system right now this afternoon. A warm front out there over the eastern Bering that's going to be pushing east-northeastward, lifting up through the southwestern parts of the state and approaching as we get up toward the Seward Peninsula early tomorrow morning, and then that feature will push further north, and as that milder air follows in around behind the initial push of snow, you will see it mix with either some freezing rain and or changing over to some rain there, especially along the southwest coast. And then that snow will spread further inland across the Yukon Valley, especially between the Alaska Range and the Brooks Range, where some of the heavier snow will fall. And in Monday, we'll see areas of light to moderate snow continuing there across the interior, with the potential for even some snow getting a little further south into south central areas later Monday into Monday night. So lows, it's going to be chilly there in the Panhandle, in the teens, other than the outer coastal areas, and then look for the interior, still 12 below at Glen Ellen, but temperatures coming up there along and west of the Alaska Range. Sunday afternoon highs generally in the 20s across the central northern inner canals, but back through the west, temperatures are going to be creeping upwards. I think in Anchorage will get above 20 degrees and certainly above freezing there along and west of the Alaska Range. Monday morning, temperatures teens across a good chunk of the Panhandle, and they should be coming up across much of south central areas. And then temperatures Monday afternoon could end up being warmer than that in say Talkeetna, Kenai, and Anchorage if some of that warmer air can spill over the Alaska Range, which I think is a real possibility. Otherwise, it's still some sub-zero readings Sunday morning along the Arctic coast, Yukon Flats, but look at these temperatures come up above freezing through the Seward Peninsula and creeping upwards into the middle Yukon Valley. Many readings getting above freezing in the say 34 to 36 degree range. Monday morning, notice not as cold. A couple of sub-zero readings there up toward Arctic Village, Katovik, and then as we go to Monday afternoon, many temperatures getting back up around or above 30 degrees with pockets of moderate snow still continuing. We'll have larger areas of light snow. And then across the southwest, temperatures are going to be coming up overnight, rising up to near freezing along the southwest coast, and certainly in the 40s there across the Aleutians. And we'll see temperatures Sunday afternoon rising above freezing, upper 30s to near 40 degrees, all the way creeping upwards through Bethel and Aniak. And then along the Aleutians, we're going to get temperatures, Dutch Harbor, probably at least 46. And Monday morning, temperatures could be near freezing, staying near or above freezing Sunday night into Monday morning, with high temperatures Monday afternoon still around or even a few 3 to 5 degrees above freezing there across much of the southwest interior, west of the Alaskan Range, with temperatures of 40 or better as you extend out along the Alaska Peninsula into the Aleutians. And looking at the extended temperature forecast, December 24th through the 28th, still expect below normal temperatures centered on the southeast part of the state, especially the Panhandle, though I think the grip of colder air will be relaxing, especially in the far southwest, because there'll be another surge of warmer air coming into the west and southwest just before and shortly after Christmas time, and precipitation as a result could end up averaging above normal, especially from the middle and lower Yukon Valley through western and southwest parts of Alaska.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
It's time now for your aviation weather, and if you have a flight planned later this weekend into early next week, main concern is we have an area of low pressure right now riding along the Kamchatka eastern Russian coast. It's going to have a frontal system with windier conditions and a big push of mild moist air into the west side of the state. Warm front will be lifting northeastward across the southwest portion coast areas up on through the Seward Peninsula as we head through the overnight into Sunday morning. This moisture and milder air will be pushing further inland up through the central Yukon Valley between the Alaska and Brooks Ranges. So this is going to cause a widespread area of IFR conditions, areas of snow and some blowing snow where the warmer air gets back up. Temperatures above freezing in parts of the Seward Peninsula and the southwest coast will see snow mix with and change to some freezing rain and rain. So that is why we have such widespread IFR conditions, and those IFR conditions will continue to spread further northeastward up the Yukon Valley during the day on Sunday and persist along the west and southwest coast back into the Bering. Look for IFR conditions up through much of the Yukon Valley for Monday morning into the central interior, back through the southwest, and out over the eastern Aleutians and tip of the Alaska Peninsula. By Monday afternoon, IFR conditions will become at least diminish in coverage and extend along the Alaska Range and back down into the Alaska Peninsula, as well as lagging back toward areas along the southern portion of Norton Sound into the lower Yukon Delta. So past conditions on Sunday, Anativik will see IFR conditions may become briefly MVFR, but I would definitely lean more toward IFR. Same thing for Adigan Pass, as that moisture spreads inland with the snow. And then for Lake Clark and Merrill, generally IFR conditions along the Alaska Range and westward into the interior there. Otherwise, toward Cook Inlet, the east entrance is hanging on to MVFR conditions Sunday afternoon. And look for Rainy Pass to see MVFR conditions on Sunday. But Windy Pass will see VFR become MVFR, but either side of it, especially south of the south entrance and north of the north entrance, if you're flying either which way, IFR conditions will be prevalent. Same thing from Isabel Pass, MVFR conditions, but the south entrance flying there southward, IFR. Mentasta should be able to hold on to VFR conditions for Sunday. And then Tanita, generally MVFR conditions will be the rule, but IFR conditions, expect those as you fly east of the east entrance. And for Portage Pass, IFR conditions becoming MVFR, at least for the midday and perhaps afternoon. And then looking to the northern panhandle, we have a large area of high pressure that continues to build over northwest Canada, centered on the southern Yukon Territory. So VFR conditions are anticipated there in the northern panhandle at Chilkoot and White. So we can see that surge of warm, moist air coming in off the Bering. Freezing levels are rising across the eastern Bering here. Early Sunday morning, they'll be as high as 8,000 feet, Nunavik Island along the southwest coast, and then upwards to 10,000 feet there in the eastern Aleutians and entering the tip of the Alaska Peninsula. And all that warm, moist air is going to trigger precipitation. We're expecting icing, could be considerable and moderate icing from areas of the southwest Brooks Range into the central interior along the Yukon River, 2,000 to 16,000 feet, and then an extensive area of considerable moderate icing from St. Lawrence Island and the south side of the Seward Peninsula all the way back through St. Matthew and down into the central Aleutians to between 8,000 and a flight level of 18,000 feet. Here is the upper level winds, 30,000 feet, a big mild ridge there showing up with strong jet cores either side. On the east side there, 135 knot north winds coming down along the north end of the panhandle and along the LCAM border. And then back to the west, we have southwest winds upwards of 170 knots coming up through the central western Aleutians. Dropping down to 9,000 feet, that core of winds upwards to 80 knots from the Seward Peninsula extending down through the central Bering into the central Aleutians. And as we get down to the 3,000 foot level, broad area of southwest winds from the northwest coast through the Seward Peninsula, YK deltas into the central eastern Aleutians on the order of 60 to 60 knots. That means widespread turbulence, surface to 4,000 feet with isolated severe turbulence possible from the Seward Peninsula across St. Lawrence and as well as St. Matthew and St. Paul Islands, extending down into the central Aleutians.
Ahoy, AKwx, and welcome to the Okeanos Explorer. I'm Debbie, and I'm an ocean explorer. I work for NOAA, which stands for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Together with many other people, I work on this ship, and we explore the deep sea. How do we do that? Let's go find out.
Octonauts, let's do this. Yow!
The pressure in the ocean is so great humans can't go there, so we send a special robot. AKwx, meet Deep Discoverer, our special robot for ocean exploration. And this is Chris. He works with Deep Discoverer. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Debbie.
Can you tell us about what Deep Discoverer does?
Sure. So this is Deep Discoverer, and today we're going to take Deep Discoverer up to 4 miles down to the ocean floor so you can see what Deep Discoverer sees.
Now, how do we do that?
We do that by using these powerful cameras and powerful lights.
That's neat. And what is that?
And this is our manipulator arm, and we use this arm to take biological and geological samples that we store up front in these boxes, and so that we can bring them to the surface so scientists can analyze them.
Wow, isn't that cool, AKwx? Wow!
Wow!
Now that we know more about the special robot that explores the seafloor, let's find out more about the ship. AKwx, let's do this. Now let's find out what we do with D2's video. Come along. This is the control room. A lot of things about D2 happen in here. Behind me you see the pilots. They steer D2 on the seafloor. And over here we have scientists. Hi, Steve and Stacy.
Hi, this is Steve and I'm Stacy and we are marine biologists.
Can you tell us about the work you do here?
We actually look at the videos collected by the robots and we try to identify organisms along with other scientists on the shore.
What are you looking at right now?
We're actually looking at a sea star.
That's so awesome, thank you. Now let's look at how we make maps of the seafloor.
Excellent, Quasi. A good map helps you to get to places you've never been.
We also have a scientist on board who makes maps of the seafloor. Hi, Derek.
Hi, Debbie.
Can you tell us about your work?
Sure. My job on the ship is to make maps of the ocean floor. We do this by sending sound from the bottom of the ship. It echoes off the seafloor and comes back to the ship. And then from that, we can make maps like this. So this is what it would look like if you were able to drain the water out of the ocean and actually see what the landscape looked like down there. We use these maps to give the vehicles a place to dive, and they explore further, just like octonauts do.
Status report, Dashi.
We're right on course, Captain.
So earlier we learned that D2 picks things up from the seafloor with his manipulator arm. Let's find out what we do with those samples. This is the wet lab, and Megan spends a lot of time here. Megan, can you tell us about your work?
I am the sample data manager, so when the ROV comes up, we go out and we collect the samples from the ROV and we bring them in here. And we try to record as much information about them as possible, everything from the details about what they look like to the environment conditions where they were found. How cold was it, for example? Then we come in and we take imagery using this microscope, and we take pictures using this camera as well. And then after we get all the pictures taken and we're ready, we prepare them for shipping to other scientists and museums so more science can be done, such as the squat lobster, this cup coral as well.
And what is that?
This is a piece of coral, or several pieces of coral, that we think might actually be a new species. So we are going to send it out for a comparison to existing species to see if we discovered something new.
Wow, you have a really cool job.
Thank you.
Fascinating. I've read about this, but I've never actually seen it.
An important part of how we explore the ocean is keeping in touch with scientists and AKwx on shore. Let's go see how we do that. Rosemary, could you tell the AKwx a little about what that dish does?
Sure. My name is Lieutenant Rosemary Abbott. I'm the operations officer aboard the Okeanos Explorer, and that is our VSAT. It stands for Very Small Aperture Terminal, and inside that satellite dome is a very powerful dish antenna that allows us to communicate with shore and share video in real time. The technology is called telepresence.
Wow, that is so interesting. Thank you, Rosemary. Now I'm getting really hungry. Let's go to the kitchen and talk about food. This is the ship's kitchen, also known as the galley. And this is Michael. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Debbie.
Michael is the chief steward on this ship, and he keeps 49 people fed for 3 weeks at a time. Michael, how do you do that?
With a lot of care and with the help of 3 crew members. I have myself, the chief steward, a chief cook, and a second cook. And we just do it with a lot of love and care and make sure that everybody's happy and well fed. We use up to 150 dozen eggs per trip, up to 100 gallons of milk, a lot of veggies and fruits, a lot of snacks. Everybody's very pleased with what we usually put out. We also make sure that we do it in a loving way, in a sanitary way, in a safe way that keeps everybody from getting any tummy aches.
I'm about to enter the ship's bridge. It's like the Octopod's headquarters.
Octonauts to the HQ.
Ahoy, Captain.
Ahoy, Debbie.
Hi, Eric.
Hello.
Octocadets, meet Eric Johnson, the commander of the ship. Eric, can you tell us about what you do up here?
Absolutely. Hello, Octocadets. My name's Eric Johnson. I'm an Corps officer, and I'm the captain of the Okeanos Explorer. Welcome to my office. This is where we drive the ship. This is where we control the operations. We run the propellers that are underneath us in the back to the wheel up here at the front, which is where we steer. It's a pretty cool job. It's very exciting, and it's pretty beautiful around here as well.
So, Octocadets, now you know a little bit about the ship and how we explore the deep sea. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I'll see you next time.
Debbie, safety first.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
Welcome back, and now we'll start out looking at today's sea ice edge. And as I mentioned the other day, we're kind of in a pattern that's going to be way more favorable for ice retreat northward, as well as some melting, as we have a milder, moist push of air coming in off the Bering Sea, and that'll impact the ice that is in place now out over the northern and eastern Bering, including the southwest and western coasts. So with these stronger winds, some gale force winds in the 30 to 40 knot range here, with the frontal system moving through overnight tonight through the day Sunday. Expect that ice to shift northward a bit, and certainly be careful for any breaks and openings that may occur. But as far as what we got coming on here for Sunday across the southeast part of the state, the Panhandle, the inner canals are going to see some strong gusty north-northwest winds upwards of 40 to 45 knots. We have a center of Arctic high pressure strengthening up over northwest Canada, centered over the southern Yukon, and so this is causing this offshore flow. As far as out over the Gulf, winds won't be as strong. We're looking at winds out of the northeast or northwesterly, 15 to 20 knots. Waves generally 6-7 feet there in the Gulf. And then Monday, winds should come down a bit, still continuing out of the north along the inner channels, with waves of only 3 to 4 feet, so half of what they would be here on Sunday. And then winds will be a bit more variable, 10 to 15 knots, waves continuing in the 5 to maybe 7 foot range out over the Gulf. For south central locations for Sunday, winds will be northerly 15 knots and 3-footers there in Prince William Sound, and as we get out to the mouth of Cook Inlet, northwesterly 15 knots, maybe 4 feet, and 20 to 25 knots off of the Kenai Peninsula in the northwest Gulf, with waves of 7 to 9 feet. And winds will come down further on Monday. There's going to be a weakening frontal system trough that kind of pushes in through the Kenai. There'll be some snowfall with that as well, especially later Monday. And winds generally variable around 10 to 15 knots, waves a few feet in the open waters of the Cook Inlet and including as well as Prince William Sound. Across the Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island on Sunday, winds will be turning west to southwesterly, generally in around 25 knots. Waves on the Gulf side running about 9 to 11 feet, and as high as 13 feet there north of Cold Bay. And then for Monday, generally winds will be out of the southwest at 20 to 25 knots, waves 5 to 7 feet around Kodiak Island, and turning more northwesterly there north of Cold Bay with waves maybe as high as say 7 to 9 feet. Across the Aleutians, still breezy there for Sunday, winds southerly around 30 to 40 knot gales, turning more southwesterly there through the western Aleutians west of Adak. Waves still upwards near and over 20 feet south of the central Aleutians, and especially in through the western Aleutians west of Adak. And then for Monday, winds come down across the entire region. We're looking at winds generally around 15 knots across the eastern Aleutians, and turning more back toward the south-southwest at 20 to 25 knots west of Adak through Kiska. And as we look at the west coast, we have the ice in place, but some brisk south 35 to 40 knot gales will cause that ice to be shifting around and retreating northward, along with milder temperatures above freezing. Out over the open waters, as we get toward St. Paul, St. George, and St. Matthew, waves will be in the 20 to 25 foot range. And then on Monday, winds do come down a bit. They're going to shift more to the west and southwest, about 20 to 25 knots. So any little openings and breaks in the ice are going to push back toward the mainland, and waves generally in the 13 to 16 foot range from St. Paul and St. George north through St. Matthew. Along the Arctic coast, easterly winds generally 20 knots. And ice in place there. And as we get from AKwx southward along the northwest coast and into the lower Chukchi Sea, winds will be out of the east, even southeast to 35 knots. And as we get past through the Bering Strait, 35 knot southerly winds. And again, that will cause some of that ice to shift around by Monday. Winds along the Arctic coast will generally be southwesterly at 20 to 25 knots, but as we get down through the Chukchi Sea in the 30 to 35 knot range. So again, the ice will have a tendency to shift around. So that does it for the show this evening. Just a quick check. We have that stronger frontal system moving in through the west, spreading the snow all the way into the interior.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.